As we get ready for a brand new season, here's another one of our favourite episodes.
From What Goes On Media, this is Coming Out Stories. It's a podcast about one of the most important conversations of your life. I'm Emma Goswell. Time now to hear from JJ, or Jessie, depending on when you catch them, because they identify as gender fluid.
I would say I identify as a non-binary gender fluid person.
Non-binary. So you don't feel entirely male or entirely female any of the time?
No, correct, yeah. I just am me, a person who just flirts between the binaries as I please.
But you flirt quite, I was going to say dramatically in either way, don't you? So you either present as very male or you present as very female, don't you? That's your choice. Yeah,
I do, and it's an open field because there's a lot of people who are non-binary who will really rock a beard and wear a full face of makeup and a dress. But that's just not, I think everybody has their own style, and that's not really me. So what is you? How do you prefer to dress? Does it depend on the day? It kind of does. I mean, it's weird because biologically I was born male, so I've obviously gone through male puberty and I'm now essentially a grown male adult. But maybe a different life. I may have, if I would have been aware of the stuff I am now, I may have transitioned as a young child, and then now I'd be more feminine. But I still reckon I would be a non-binary person. So, you're not exactly old, though, are you? It's not like you're saying it's too late to transition. I certainly know people who are in their 50s or 60s that might say it's too late. But you're what, in your 20s? 27. Yeah. 27. It's never too late, never. But I think for transition for people, it's unique to them and their circumstances and situation. I believe everyone has a choice and everyone has a path, and I'm happy with the life I have. Although maybe if I knew now what I knew then, I might have gone down a different route. I don't want to go down that route now because I'm happy the way things are. About pronouns, which do you prefer? Like today, you're male identifying. Would you be offended if I called you he or him? No, not at all. I think it's personal to the person. Everybody's so different. I have friends out there who are specifically they and them. They do not want to identify either female or male. They're strictly non-binary and they're like they. So they are a great person, or they are coming round for tea instead of he's coming round for tea or her. And it's quite interesting because a lot of languages don't even have gender in them. I think Turkish is one. There's no he or she. There's no pronouns for the gender. But for me, no, I think a lot of my life has been male dominated. So for me to switch it up, it's going to be a big adjustment for people. I could go there, but right now I'm just happy to kind of go with he, she, they, them, anything. Oh, anything, right, okay. So if you're male presenting like now, I could call you he or him, but obviously if you're presenting as Jessie, I'd refer to you as she and her. Correct, yeah, that works with me. It's totally fine. I've been called a lot worse from other people. So how old do you think you were when you first thought, oh, I'm not like the other boys at school, there's something going on here? A child. I knew from being small that I was different. My dad caught me dressing in my mum's clothes as a small child. Oh yeah, how old? Probably say 3 or 4, as early as that. That kind of set me down a different path because the first reaction was to kind of make a joke and embarrass me in front of everyone. It's like, oh, I found him doing this, and then as a child you think, oh, it's wrong. I'm not allowed to do this. I shouldn't do that. So. But can you remember that far back? Can you remember? Yeah, definitely. What it felt like when you dressed in your mum's clothes? I can't believe I'm talking about it. Yeah. But yeah, it was just something that I knew I had to try and experience. I was just drawn to it, like I'm also drawn to playing football or watching the boxing or the UFC. It was just something that no matter how far I went, I always was drawn to the feminine side of things as well. And how else did you express it then? You say you dressed up in your mum's clothes. Was that all that you did as a child? Yeah, well, I did until I got caught, and then I think I did what a lot of trans or gay people or LGBTQI people do, and that's run from who they are. I spent a lifetime being as the complete opposite as I could from that situation until quite recently, really. The past couple of years, I really decided, like, no, I'm a grown person, I'm an adult, I can face who I am. So really, it sounds like you went from the ages of sort of 4 to about 25, sort of suppressing that side of you. Yeah, 100%. I think, especially because it's for coming out stories, for me, I had to come out to myself before I could come out to anyone else. It was still a battle that I'm not this person, I can't do that. I was consumed by guilt and shame and fear of what other people would think. And then it just got to the point where I was like, no, you know what, I'm doing nothing wrong. I'm not hurting anybody. I'm just being me and expressing myself, and it went from there, really.
How did you manage to come out to yourself then? I know certainly for some people I've spoken to, they actually said it out loud on a beach or spoke to themselves in the mirror or...
I actually don't know the exact moment. It was kind of, I went to a fancy dress party of a friend's and I went as a female, and I just knew at that moment that everything felt too good, and I was probably happier on that night than I had been for a lot of other times. So I think it was after that I come home and I was like, right, I need to have a hard talk with myself as well as other people.
Yeah. So how did it feel then when you were at this fancy dress party and you'd put a frock on and you were actually in front of your friends and your partner in what was supposedly fancy dress, but it was more than that for you?
Yeah, no, it was. It was definitely more. I don't know, I just played the group idiot and joked about that I enjoyed it too much, when really I was just in my element and was like, oh, well, this feels different, but nice.
And this was literally a couple of years ago.
Yeah, might be a bit more, maybe about 4 or 5 years ago,
Okay.
yeah.
And then when was the first moment you went out and bought a dress for yourself and thought, I'm really going to pursue this, I can't ignore this any longer?
Maybe 18 months ago, 2 years ago-ish. I think my first night out as Jessie was about 2 years ago on Canal Street.
Oh, okay. In the gay village in Manchester?
It was, certainly was. And it was great, it felt amazing. I was meeting friends. We had a makeup artist meeting us, and we was going for the full Shazam. But I was still, to my friends, I was like, when I'm ready, I might not be ready to leave the hotel. I might just end up staying in because I was that scared.
So you did it with friends, so you felt comfortable enough to tell people then?
Yeah, well, I say friends who was going through similar stuff to what I was, because I joined social media, and that gave me a whole new world of connection and other people. That was kind of when I also come to terms with myself, because that social media, people are themselves, even if nobody else knows about it. So I know plenty of people who are closeted on social media, but they're themselves on the social media. It's just the rest of the people who don't know who they are. That's
really interesting. So you came out to strangers, essentially, to begin with?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
And in fact, Twitter's been really important for you, I think, hasn't it? And Instagram.
Yeah, it just gave me a place to belong. From all them years of, being scared of telling friends or family, or feeling that I'm, alone with my own mind, I joined Twitter originally just to venture and see if there was other people like me, and then it just opened up a whole new can of worms, and I kind of got some followers and people.
Well, let me just tell you, Jessie says you've got. So do you prefer being called Jessie or JJ?
Either. I get called everything. Jessie, JJ, Jester, the lot.
Yeah.
I get all sorts. So.
But you don't mind?
No, I don't.
If you're
mind
identifying
either.
as a man. Today you're male presenting.
Yeah, I would say JJ today.
JJ, but then if I were to meet you in the evening and you were all frocked and had your hair flowing and all your amazing makeup, Jessie.
Probably, yeah. Probably Jessie.
Anyway, what I was going to say was, yes, JJ, you say you've got some followers on Twitter. It's about 80,000, isn't it?
Not quite that much. Not far, about 70, I think.
It's a lot. How did you get that many followers then? Are that many people on Twitter interested in your story, I think, aren't they?
I think, the thing that I found was it gave me a place to belong, and then as I become more confident, I kind of grown with the journey. And I have people message me now, like, I followed you when you had 1 follower or 100 followers, and now to see the journey through Twitter has been quite incredible for them. But also through that platform, I've had so many people message me and say, I'm married to a beautiful woman, I've got kids, I love them, but there's this side of me and I can't tell them, I don't know how to. I know you've managed to do it, can you help me do that? So it's been quite interesting seeing how many people want the support.
Yeah, well, that is your story, so tell us what that was like. Tell us what your home situation is.
Yeah, so I'm happily married to a beautiful woman. I have 2 beautiful children, and I have a really supportive, liberal family. My mum's great, my brothers are great, everyone's been great, really. But I think I was trapped in the prison of my own mind, of fear of coming out to them. So I first came out to my wife, and that was after the fancy dress party. I was like, right, this is serious. I need to have this chat now. And at the time, I was fully prepared to lose my wife, in terms of I didn't know how she would take it. It's a big thing to say to somebody that I think I might like this, or I might be gender fluid, or I'm not sure what it is. I didn't know what her reaction was, but I knew to go forward, we had to be honest. And
how did you phrase it? Did you say, I'm non-binary, I'm gender fluid?
No, I'd never even heard of those terms by then. I just explained the situation. I was just like, look, we did this fancy dress party, and for me, it felt amazing. And, I explained that all my life I felt a little bit different, and my heart was racing out my chest, and I was like, I didn't know how she'd take it. And she was amazing, to be fair. She was like, well, you're still you. I still love you for the person you are, so we'll go on the journey together. And that's where it all started, really.
You're pretty lucky then, because as you say, you were really scared that you'd lose her, and she's really supported you.
Yeah, she's been amazing. Yeah, stole her wardrobe. Now she steals mine. But yeah, no, she's just been an incredible rock, even through telling people and coming out to other people. She's always been there. She's offered to, speak to people on my behalf if that's been something I've wanted to do. But really, she's been great, because it's a big thing. And Jessie is not really the person she met, but we've moved with it.
She met JJ, who is, you're JJ today. You've got quite a lot of stubble. You've got your motorbike gear on. You came in with your motorbike helmet. And you're quite blokey. You've got quite a blokey job, haven't you? What
that's it. I'm a gas engineer.
You're a gas engineer. It's not like sort of gay book of jobs, is it?
No.
Or a very traditionally feminine role, is it?
No, and I think it took a lot of people by surprise, because I'm not, like, people assume you to be, eccentric or camp or flamboyant, but I tend to find it's not the case, really. People are just them.
Is it a case then, because you say, you refer to Jessie almost as like another person, don't you? Is it almost like you've got a separate identity?
It's weird. I kind of, because it's a really difficult one. The situation I'm in, I'm still with my career and my children. I'm still in the early stages of figuring out where I need to be and where it's going to go. So I'm just kind of keeping them a little bit separate just for now, while things pan out, and I see how, just recently I had like an ex-group of friends find out and stuff who didn't take it as well as a lot of close people did. And it's just until everything settles down and the dust settles and I can kind of figure out where I need to go. I've kind of put them in separate boxes. But for me, that's me. It doesn't matter. Although I'm JJ now, I'm just as much Jessie. So it's, I think it's deeper.
That must have hurt you then, those people just not accepting it, or just do they not understand it?
It's all right. Bless you.
Don't worry, I've not got germs.
No, I mean, I've got so much love and support around me, and these people who try to mock me or whatever, it just backfired on them. So I'm not really, I'm not too fussed about that.
And what about your kids? Because they're quite young, aren't they? They're sort of aware of it, or not really?
So my youngest is 2, so she's an angel. No, she doesn't understand yet, so I'm not going to put that on her. I've had the chat with my eldest now, which when I first met you I hadn't.
Oh, so how old's your eldest?
She's 8.
Okay.
And I before I kind of properly came out to everyone, I did a photo shoot with my friend Patrick, and he did some amazing photos, and that was when I was like, I'm going to show people these. And I shown like my mother-in-law and a few other people before they knew the full extent, and I just kind of told them a white lie. I said I was helping a friend out, and he's got an upcoming business, and I offered to do it. So we showed my little girl a picture, and she was quite like, "Wow, that's amazing!" Like, kids are innocent; they only know what they're taught. So she got it great, and then I had the chat maybe a month and a half ago, and she was amazing. She was just like, "I don't care. Like, as long as you're happy, Daddy, that doesn't matter to me. Like, it's fine." So
kids are amazing, aren't they?
They're just sponges. They soak in everything, and that's why it's important for LGBTQI education at an early age, because they're not taught what's right and wrong, or they don't grow up knowing that they're taught what's right and wrong. And if we show them that it's okay to be yourself and express yourself, then I think it'll go a long way. Absolutely.
Well, I always say homophobia and transphobia is definitely taught. Children are not born with those views.
No, exactly. No child is born racist or discriminative or homophobic. They're not. They're just innocent.
So how did it go with your parents then? Was that a big issue, telling them that you were gender fluid?
No, not really. See, my dad's quite difficult because he doesn't open up at the best of times, not even to my mum. He's quite... he just keeps everything to himself. He's great, and I know he has no problems with it or whatnot, but I'm still yet to have that conversation with my dad. Whereas, like, I've spoken to my brothers about it, I've spoken to my mum, I've spoken to everybody about it, but my dad, really. But it's not that we avoid it. I think my dad needs to be at a place where he's okay to talk about it.
And your mum's quite cool about it, isn't she?
My mum's awesome, yeah. She's really open.
I did see a fantastic quote on Twitter recently, actually.
Yes.
Can you tell us that?
She did. So when I did come out to my mum, she was just like, incredible, and I then introduced her to Jessie, and we, go out for coffees and do all sorts, and she's really supportive. And then we come to the subject of telling everybody else, because it's quite hard to suppress, like I said, quite a lot of followers on social media. I don't hide it, I just don't particularly push it down everyone's throat as well. So we had the chat about telling the rest of the family, and my mum was like, yeah, I think you should go for it because it's easier, rather than someone slip up or someone stumble across it and they have to find out through other means. There was no pressure, but there was certain encouragement to tell them. And she just said that those that matter won't care, and those that care won't matter. And I just thought, yeah, she's right, really. It was good advice, because none of them cared.
Yeah, she's a wise woman.
I wouldn't say wise.
She's regarding that, though.
Yeah, she is. She's great.
So, just going back to this first day that you went out in public as Jessie, how did that pan out? What was that like, walking, in broad daylight, in your dress? It wasn't a fancy dress party?
No, it was great. I felt like myself. I felt liberated and free for the first time to just be me. And that gave me the confidence then that I knew I could just be me and not worry about what people think. It was in the safe zone, so it was in Canal Street, where people accept everything. But I kind of feel like everybody gets up and caught up about what other people think about you. But then when you're kind of out there, everyone's wrapped up in their own life. No one cares what you're doing. Like, I've been out so many times now in the day as Jessie, and no one's batted an eyelid. And it's just because people are busy with their own life. They don't really care what you're doing with yours.
And I guess it was difficult, was it just an adjustment to go shopping and go to those ladies' shops? And
yeah, it's just getting yourself mentally prepared, really. But it's still something that I'm learning and growing with, but I'm getting more confident every day, so that's good.
I feel like you've been on a real journey, and you're still on it, really.
Well, absolutely. I mean, I was on the radio myself as Jessie not long ago, and that was new. So it's it's good. I'm growing, and I think there's a lot more to come, a lot more help to give.
I feel like maybe in the past, someone that sort of identified as you in terms of you're obviously straight, you've got your wife, you've got your kids, you've got your day job as a gas engineer, and then you dress up as a female other times, may have been called a transvestite. Yeah,
definitely. And I get that as well. I just think it's really difficult because there's different paths that people take, and it doesn't mean it's right or wrong. I know people who are a transgender female as such, but they just can't transition, or they won't, just because of either fear or life circumstances or persecution or exclusion from the family. And it doesn't make them, I suppose, any more or less trans than someone who's, born into a billionaire family, got everyone accepting them, they can pay for surgery and transition, and there's going to be no concerns in the world. And I just think everybody's path to where they're going to be is completely different. So I have friends, for example, from Scotland and Ireland, and they identify as a cross-dresser. They're like, nope, it's nothing to do with my gender identity. I don't feel like a woman on the inside. I just enjoy dressing up.
Okay.
And that's that. And that I kind of would see more as a transvestite. Whereas for me, I've toyed with the idea of transition. I've toyed with the idea of hormones and blurring the two. I've gone down every avenue in my mind, but I know it's more. I wouldn't describe myself as cisgender, if that makes sense. So I kind of feel that's the difference.
If you had to tick one of those boxes then, when you're filling out a government form or whatever it is, what would you tick?
I would tick other, or MX, if that comes out soon. Hopefully it will.
Oh yeah, get yourself an MX passport one day maybe.
That's it, that's the plan. I think it's a greater scale than just male or female, that's for sure. It's a wide spectrum. We all fit somewhere.
So will there be days still, you think, where you feel quite masculine? Will it still blur, do you think?
Yeah, definitely. I think it'll always be there. And it took me a long time to realise that was okay. I didn't have to just fix it. A lot of people are like, no, I have to do this because that's me all of the time. Whereas for me, it's not. So when I actually stumbled across the term non-binary and gender fluid and I researched it, that's when it really resonated. And I was like, oh, well, that's okay. That's a bit different. I don't have to make a choice that's I'm either this or that. I can kind of just be me and experience it as it comes.
And when you finish your day working, like fixing boilers and stuff, you come home, do you take off all your oily clothes and dress as a woman, or do you sort of
Whatever.
Depends.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter. Clothes are clothes. It doesn't matter. I enjoy female clothes more because they're comfier, in my opinion. But yeah, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter.
What's the future then, Jessie, do you think? JJ?
Just to keep growing, keep learning. And I kind of feel now I've got a bit of a platform to do some good. I want to do some good. And I'm confident enough in my own self to now, be open and tell people who I am. And hopefully that'll inspire a few other people to come out and tell people who they are without being terrified. That's the plan.
And what advice would you give to other people sort of really questioning their gender identity and feeling a bit unsure, like you were a few years ago? You didn't really understand it, did you?
I would. My advice would just be, keep exploring, keep being you, don't be ashamed, don't hide from it, kind of come out to yourself, find out what you are, where you want to be, where you want to fit, and then once you've got everything that you need to know, then you can start sharing with other people, because the last thing you need to do is kind of give people mixed signals as well. It's quite difficult. I mean, I've had loads of friends message me and like, do I need to do this? What's this? And I'm just like, you're going off on a tangent, just relax and we'll cross them bridges as they come. But as long as you're not sending mixed signals out to everyone, I think that's pretty cool.
Fabulous. Well, thank you for being you.
Thank you for being you.
And good luck for the rest of your journey.
Yeah, thank you. It's going to be good.
I really appreciated JJ talking to me, because I do feel that they're kind of at the beginning of their journey, and it's only very recently that they've been identifying as gender fluid. Please do subscribe wherever you get your podcasts from. We'd also love to hear from you on Twitter. You can find us there at Come Out Stories. I'm Emma Goswell, and Coming Out Stories is a What Goes On media production. Next time around on Coming Out Stories, you'll hear from Matthew Schaefer. He's an actor, dancer, choreographer and author. He's so out and proud, he's even written a book called Dancing Out of the Closet. He wasn't always out and proud, though. In fact, he was in the closet till his 20s. He even had a girlfriend because he was worried about ruining his career.
At that point, it was so far. I'd lied so long. I'd betrayed so many people by saying, oh, I'm not gay, I'm not gay, I'm not gay, that at that point I was like, fuck. If I come out now, all of those people will be right. And I will look like an asshole.